If you had asked me a month ago to describe my family, I would have given you the polished version. The one we presented at holiday parties and firm gatherings. The Torres family. Successful. Refined. A legacy woven into the very fabric of the city's legal system. But that was before the champagne toast. Before the words my father spoke sliced through the carefully constructed facade and revealed the ugly, unspoken truth that had been festering beneath for 22 years. My name is Madison Torres. I am a nurse. That single fact, that beautiful, hard-won title, is the reason my family sees me as a ghost. 2 weeks ago, my father, Richard Torres, senior partner at Dalton, Pearson Strauss, stood before 50 of our closest relatives, family friends, and his most important colleagues. We were at the Sterling, the most exclusive restaurant in the city, under the glow of a crystal chandelier that cost more than my nursing school tuition. It was my college graduation party. At least that was the technicality. I stood near the back, wearing a simple navy dress I'd bought on sale, feeling like an imposter in my own life. The air smelled of imported roses and ambition. I watched my father raise his glass, that familiar, charismatic smile gracing his lips. But his eyes weren't searching for me in the crowd. They were locked with palpable pride on my younger sister, Olivia. Olivia, who was 19, fresh from her first year of pre-law, already the golden child. She was resplendent in an emerald gown, the physical embodiment of my parents' dreams. To family, my father began, his voice a smooth baritone that commanded silence. To legacy, he paused, letting the weight of the words settle over the room. As many of you know, the Torres name has been synonymous with the law for 3 generations. It's a tradition of excellence, of impact. My heart was a frantic drum against my ribs. Say my name, I begged silently. Just once. Just acknowledge that this party, this night, is supposedly for me. He continued. I look at the future of this family, and my heart swells with pride. His gaze never wavered from Olivia. A cold dread began to pool in my stomach. I wish, he said, his voice dropping to a confiding, emotional tone that made several guests lean in. I truly wish that it was you, Olivia, holding that diploma tonight. You are the only child who has ever truly made me proud. The silence that followed wasn't just quiet. It was a vacuum, sucking all the air from the room. I saw a few eyebrows raise. Partner's wife shifted uncomfortably. My mother, Patricia, seated elegantly beside Olivia, simply nodded. A firm, definitive agreement. No shock. No protest. No one looked at me. Not a single glance of sympathy. Not a flicker of outrage. I was wallpaper. I was the error in the family blueprint politely ignored. The applause started, hesitant at first, then building as people followed my father's lead, as they always did. Glasses clinked. To Olivia, someone echoed. That's when I moved. My legs, numb and heavy, carried me through the blur of smiling faces, past the waiters with their silver trays, out the heavy oak doors of the private dining room. The sound of the celebration muffled, then vanished behind me. No one called my name. No one noticed the guest of honor had left the building. I drove home in a silence so profound it roared in my ears. But this story doesn't end with me crying in my apartment, though I did plenty of that. It begins with what happened next. Because my family is still reeling from the aftermath. And I'm finally at peace. But before I show you how the dominoes fell, let me properly introduce the players. You need to understand the ecosystem I grew up in. Richard Torres, the patriarch, a self-made man who clawed his way out of a working-class neighborhood and into an Ivy League law school on sheer grit and a towering inferiority complex. He married into old-money legal aristocracy and spent the next 3 decades building an empire to prove he belonged. His love is conditional, his pride is currency, and his worldview is a strict hierarchy where surgeons and judges sit at the top, and everyone else services them. Patricia Torres, the enabler born with a silver spoon and a prepaid membership to the country club. Her identity is the law firm wife. Her role is to maintain the family's social standing, manage appearances, and support her husband's narrative at all costs. She confuses compliance with love and has mastered the art of passive-aggressive dismissal. Olivia Torres, the prodigy 19 years old, with the poise of a seasoned diplomat and the academic record of a future Supreme Court justice. She is the living, breathing fulfillment of our parents' ambitions. I don't blame Olivia. She was born into the role of the sun, and we were all taught to orbit her. She never had to learn my name was Madison. She only learned it was Olivia's sister, Eleanor Mitchell, the matriarch, my grandmother. My mother's mother. A retired nurse with a spine of stainless steel and a heart that could encompass the world. She is the antidote to the Torres family poison. To my father, she is a medical assistant who married well. To me, she is my anchor. Me, Madison, the anomaly, the family's genetic mystery. The one who, at 18, looked at a future of torts and precedents and said, "No, thank you. I wanted to hold hands, not gavels. I wanted to comfort, not cross-examine." My choice to pursue nursing was seen not as a different path, but as a deliberate step down. A betrayal. The rift began 4 years ago. I was trembling with excitement, holding my acceptance letter to the university's prestigious nursing program. Nursing, my father had repeated, setting down his crystal tumbler of scotch with a sharp clink. The word sounded foreign and faintly ridiculous in his mouth. Madison, be serious. You want to spend your life changing bedpans and taking orders from doctors. I want to help people, I'd said, my voice smaller than I'd intended. I want to be there when they're scared, to make a real difference. Your sister wants to make a difference. My mother had chimed in, sighing as if my life goals were a minor inconvenience. She's going to change policy, defend the innocent. Our family has been in law for 3 generations. You're breaking the chain. And just like that, my dream was reduced to breaking the chain. From that day forward, I became a background character in the Olivia Torres biopic. Phone calls home were updates on Olivia's moot court victories, Olivia's internship with a federal judge, Olivia's flawless LSAT practice scores. Meanwhile, I was pulling double shifts as a waitress to pay for books, acing pathophysiology exams, and holding the hand of a dying man during my first clinical rotation because no one else was there. I collected commendations like quiet secrets, tucking them away in a drawer. My parents never asked to see them. But every Sunday at 7 p.m., without fail, my phone would ring. "Hello, my brilliant girl," Grandma Eleanor would say. "Tell me about your week. How was the cardiac rotation? Did you nail that 4 on the first try? I know you did." She remembered everything. She was my living, breathing scrapbook of achievements my parents refused to see. 2 months before graduation, the email arrived. It was from my mother. The subject line was sterile, graduation event details. The body was colder. "Madison, your graduation party has been scheduled for Saturday the 15th at the Sterling, 7 p.m. Your father has finalized the guest list and arrangements. Your attendance is required. Attire is formal. You do not need to concern yourself with any details. Mother." I clicked the attachment. PDF list of 53 names. My eyes scanned the alphabetical rows. I saw the names of judges, senior partners, distant cousins I'd met twice. I saw Olivia's entire sorority listed. But I did not see the name of Professor Alicia Martinez, who had stayed up with me countless nights perfecting my care plans. I did not see my roommate Celia, who had held my hair back when I was sick from stress and exhaustion. I did not see a single friend or mentor from my own world. My fingers were clumsy on my phone as I called her. "Mother, the guest list. I'd like to invite a few of my own people. Professor Martinez and my friend Celia. They mean a lot to me." Her sigh was a familiar gust of wind, designed to extinguish my spark. "Madison, this isn't a dormitory pizza party. This is an important networking event for your father. These people, they wouldn't quite fit the atmosphere. The partners' wives will be there. We need everything to be seamless. Wouldn't fit the atmosphere." The words were a velvet glove around an iron fist. My people, the ones who had seen me through blood, sweat, and tears, were not suitable for the Torres family showcase. That night, the physical invitation arrived in my mailbox for my records. I held the thick, creamy cardstock. Raised lettering in gold foil shimmered under my kitchen light. It read, The Torres family requests the pleasure of your company at a celebration of family legacy and achievement. Not a word about graduation. Not my name. I was a supporting actor in the Torres family show, and my biggest scene was expected to be a silent, smiling presence in the background. I should have canceled it. I should have screamed. But a lifetime of training in quiet compliance held me back. That and a fragile, foolish hope. Maybe when they see me in that room, when they realize it's a real accomplishment, they'll understand. Oh, how wrong I was. 3 days before the party, I went to my parents' house, a fortress of marble and mahogany in the hills. I found my father in his study, a room that smelled of leather and ambition. Dad, about the party. I need to talk to you about the guests. He didn't look up from his legal brief. The list is final. It's my graduation party, I said, the defiance in my voice surprising us both. Now he looked up. His gaze was cool, analytical, as if I were a weak witness on the stand. It is a Torres family event. We are celebrating the family's continued success. I just want my mentor there, Professor Martinez. She's the reason a nursing professor? A short, humorless laugh escaped him. What exactly am I supposed to tell Charles Dalton? That my daughter is being honored by someone who teaches bed bathing? They'll think we have one child who couldn't cut it in the real world. Each word was a precise surgical cut. I felt the sting deep in my core. I graduated at the top of my class. I whispered, my voice trembling. In nursing, Madison. He said the profession like it was a synonym for failure. Your sister was just accepted to Harvard Law. Do you have any idea what that means for this family's standing? This party is the perfect platform to announce it. The final piece clicked into place. The fancy venue, the powerful guests, the erased name on the invitation. It was never my party. It was Olivia's launchpad. I was the inconvenient pretext. So I'm just set dressing? I asked. He picked up his pen, his dismissal complete. You need to show up, be polite, and try not to draw undue attention to yourself. Try not to draw attention to myself. At the celebration of my own academic journey. The irony was so bitter I could taste it. I left his study, my future crumbling into ash. But in the ashes, a new resolve began to smolder. I was done being invisible, and fate, it seemed, agreed. Because that evening, as I sat in my dim apartment staring at the wall, an email arrived that would change the trajectory of my life. It was from an address that made my breath hitch. The subject line, formal offer of employment and a request. My hands shook as I opened it. Dear Ms. Torres, on behalf of the Board of Directors and the Department of Nursing at Presbyterian Memorial Hospital, it is our utmost pleasure to extend to you an offer for the position of registered nurse in our Level 1 Trauma Center Emergency Department. The details swam before my eyes. The salary, the benefits, the prestige. Presbyterian Memorial wasn't just a hospital. It was the hospital. Their ER was legendary, a proving ground for the best of the best. Getting an interview was a miracle. Getting an offer was unheard of for a new grad. But it was the final paragraph that made my heart stop. In recognition of the exceptional nature of your achievements, we would be honored to present this offer to you formally at a significant life event, should you have one forthcoming. We believe in celebrating our future colleagues with the fanfare they deserve. They wanted to make a ceremony of it, a public declaration of my worth. I looked from the glowing screen of my laptop to the embossed, gold foil invitation